my best not to like look back into the past too much.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I try my best to also feel nothing. We've been doing this shit for so long that it's just like, I don't know. I don't really care to look back to when we were like 14 because it was a joke then. I mean, it's still a pretty big joke now for us.
Well, what got you into all this? What motivated you to keep this band going for all those years?
I don't know, maybe some sort of rebellion against a typical suburban life. Like not like a very serious rebellion, but just really a lack of wanting to, become a acceptable member of society.
Well, what was the music scene like over in Canada?
It's not overly different than that of the United States. As we like to say, it's another fart in the shitstorm. Yeah, like obviously we have a bigger draw, like a considerably bigger draw in Canada, but I think that mainly has to do with how long we've been working that market. But, you still have your hardcore dancers and your mosh pitters and all that stupid shit, right?
What are your goals individually with this band? Like, where do you want this to go?
I'd like to see it reach some sort of sustainable living. However, that's not very realistic considering the lifespan of most bands. So, I don't know, I hope to die young and leave a pretty corpse,
So you guys have a lot of fun on the road. Do you have any experiences where you guys had to stay with fans for a night?
Yeah, we used to do that all the time when we were younger. We're on a bus now, so we just sort of sleep in the bus. And, I think it would be actually kind of strange doing that because we don't know anyone in the United States. Like, when we used to do that in Canada, we used to stay at friends' houses and shit like that. But now it would be very peculiar to do that for us.
What was it like, though, staying at, your friends' houses all throughout the country?
It was kind of weird, like, sleeping on people's fucking concrete floors and shit like that. We had a couple really sketchy experiences where we just went home with kids from the fucking shows and slept at their houses in the middle of nowhere.
Were your parents pretty supportive of this? You guys just going out and touring?
Yeah, our parents have always been supportive, We started doing this when we were 17. Like, we started touring when we were 17. Mm-hmm. And, I don't know, they've always just supported our decisions.
As your band started forming and you had to deal with more of the industry stuff, was that something that you knew that you were going to get into?
It was certainly a learning experience. We still, at this point, we try to separate ourselves from industry. Mm-hmm. It's not something we're overly fond of. It's not something we really give a shit for, So, most of the time, we just let people deal with it.
As far as your band Protest the Hero, what are you trying to get across to people that listen to your music?
Well, it's complicated. There's a variety of different things, One is a looming apathy, and a general disregard for mostly what the state of the music scene is. And also that, technical music doesn't have to be difficult to listen to.
You mentioned the state music is in right now. What do you think about digital downloading and how MySpace has changed music?
I have a love-hate relationship with it. Mm-hmm. I love the kids download records. I don't know. Bands aren't really making money. Record labels are kind of fucking raping our asses, and that's what they've been doing for years. So, kids downloading records is really just a big fuck you to record labels and the industry. But as for MySpace, it's produced a million of these little clone bands that just get silly haircuts and do little breakdowns and scream all over the place, and I'd really like to see them eradicated.
Do you think that it oversaturates the market?
Yeah, I think the market is definitely oversaturated. It seems to be like this, scene has taken on almost a different persona. It's taken on a very negative connotation for me. of the Devil Wears Prada. You know, 500 people show up to their first show and they're the shittiest musicians ever. I resent them, and I resent MySpace for creating bands of that like.
Are there other bands that you're not very fond of?
Oh, there's a lot of bands that I'm not very fond of. Most of them fall in that vein.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not gonna get too into talking bands, but.
Oh, definitely.
I'll mention that band by name for
sure. I mean, obviously, I'm sure you've played with some of these bands. Like, when you tour with some of these bands, you know, is it a weird vibe?
Yeah, definitely a weird vibe because it's just like, I don't know, we kind of grew up fucking nose to the grindstone, touring in shitty little vans across countries all our lives, and these kids just fucking wake up on buses selling out shows, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, it's definitely a weird vibe because we're born to resent that kind of thing. We're born to resent those kind of fucking, you know, rich kids. Forever the doctor's kids, if you will.
So do they act differently in a sense? I mean, do they not appreciate things as much?
No, absolutely not. You know, I'm not talking specifically the Devil Wears Prada at this point. I'm just, you know, talking all these young upstarts that fucking don't really have much of a future and didn't really have much of a past.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, of course they don't appreciate where they are. Of course they don't fucking have any etiquette whatsoever. They're just little fucking brats, man.
What do you think about record labels that form this and they market this?
You know, I don't think much about that. You know, it's the record label's job to find the next big thing and, you know, exploit it. So, I hope they exploit away.
Is it a gratifying thing when kids come up to you and they say that, you know, your music changed their lives?
For sure, to a certain degree. You kind of have to take into perspective, you know, the age of the kids and what that really means. You know, like when 16-year-old kids come up to you and they're like, your music changed my life. It's like, yeah, it changed your life for a moment until you know, move on and find your new favorite band, which is cool too. But I think it means a lot more when older people come with more formed opinion. You know, you've actually apt compliments. Not that we don't appreciate the kids that say that, but you just have to kind of be aware of the fragile teenage state that they're in.